Well, good day, and welcome to Steve's Kitchen, because cooking lean is supreme. And I'm your host, Mr. Weight Loss himself, Steve Edwards. Welcome to my kitchen. And today I've got an amazing recipe for the late fall and early winter seasons. It's my lean cooking version of homemade chicken and wild rice soup. And I just love the flavor of chicken and wild rice soup, particularly today, the day before Thanksgiving, and any time for that matter in the fall or early winter season. And it's really quite simple. I've got all the ingredients here, and you can do this in a crock pot is what I would recommend. I've got my crock pot here preheated to a high setting. And I'm going to show you how few ingredients, how you can make some wonderful, amazing food here. And the first thing you're going to need is some vegetables, and I've pre-cut a medium-sized white onion, a half a stalk, not, bunch, not stalk, I'm sorry, half a bunch of fresh celery, and then I had one organic carrot. And I would recommend, if you can get it, organic produce whenever possible, as long as it's fresh and crisp and good looking. Otherwise, if it's not, then I would recommend the commercial. But in any case, I've got a whole white onion, a half a bunch of celery, and a nice carrot here. And the first thing you're going to do with that is you're going to literally just put this into the crock pot. Set to high, and we're going to turn it down once it simmers for about an hour. It'll take about an hour to get to a good simmer or boil. Now, what's really interesting is all you need now is I've got about 1.5 pounds of fresh chicken breast, and if you could use really good commercial, I got some at Hy-Vee for $1.49. Amazing deal. But otherwise I recommend organic whenever, or free range whenever possible. Then I've also got myself, I don't have to sit here and monkey around for an hour or better cooking wild rice when you can get a package of wild rice right here. Wonderful thing. I've got some chicken stock, some cream of celery condensed soup, and some fresh herbs here, some parsley, some basil, some tarragon, and I'm going to add one thing from my cupboard here too, and it's bay leaf. And so I'm going to take right now, I've got a couple of bay leaves. I'm going to put 2 of those inside my pot here. And then I'm going to add 2 cups of filtered fresh water. And then we're going to add our tarragon. And you could measure this stuff out if you wanted to, but you're probably, with these sprinkles, I'm probably putting maybe at the most a half a teaspoon, maybe half a teaspoon of each herb here would be about right. See, the beauty about this, it's not rocket science. You're just going for some really good flavors, that's all. And then the fresh, the dried parsley. Okay, and then I've got some fresh sea salt here. I recommend putting a little bit of that in there. And then some finely ground black pepper. If you have white pepper, that would be really good. But if you don't have white pepper, that's okay. I recommend just your standard black pepper. And now what you're going to do is you're going to end up having some thyme here. Well, this is coming up to basically a boil, only in the crock pot. It'll take about an hour, and then we're going to let it kind of simmer and bubble for about an hour, so about a 2-hour time lag here. Then we're going to add in the remainder of the ingredients here. And so while that's cooking, I can easily show you how to prepare the chicken. And so we're going to do that, but the chicken we're going to grill. If you have a panini pan or a top of the stove grill pan, you know, maybe a Calphalon or one of the good brands like that. Or I have an old George Foreman grill. I do a chicken on that. By pre-grilling the chicken and adding it later, I found you get that little bit of a grill flavor that comes through from the chicken breast that carries in with the wild rice. And there's just something about that. It makes it extra special. Certainly you could prepare your chicken, cut it up, put it in the crock pot. After it comes up to a boil in an hour or two, and you could leave it all day long on low and go to work and come back, and it would be great. But you know, the thing is that I like that extra little bit of grill flavor. It's just so good. Now the other thing too, I'm thinking before, you could do this before or after, it really doesn't matter, but I'm thinking before I do my chicken here, I'm going to do my chicken stock up here. And what I've got here is some chicken broth you can get virtually anywhere. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, seeing this only had water in it, I'm going to add 2 cups of chicken stock as well. So you got 2 cups of water, 2 cups of chicken stock, half a bunch of celery. You've got a whole white onion and a whole carrot, plus the herbs. Okay. And so there's nothing like being impromptu, right? And so this is going to just bubble away, and we're going to prepare some chicken now. I don't know how well you can see it. See, the problem with doing these videos at home is I don't have a cameraman. And so I'm not able to do close-ups, and I don't have an editing machine, so I can sit there and manipulate this into a professional video like you might get on a Food Network cook show or something. But I assure you that my recipes are just as good as anything you're going to find on any of the national television networks or what have you. And what I recommend doing, I don't want to, in case my knife comes through, ruin my granite top here, so I'm going to bring my cutting board back that had the celery and onion just as a precaution. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to trim all these extra skins and fat, and I don't really care if I waste a little bit because you know, you've got the flavors there, you know, with the chicken stock. And you know, I got this for $1.49. I'm not really too concerned if I, you know, waste a little corner, a little bit here, trying to get the skins off when I'm like Jack Sprat that ain't no fat, because my body doesn't process fat properly. So that's why I do these lean cooking shows. That, and I love to share. I have an abundant mindset, and I really believe that sharing is what brings people together. You know, besides being truthful and honest, having that abundant mindset is so important, especially here when we have the pandemic the day before Thanksgiving. I know that there's many people out there that as a precaution are calling off their travel plans. They're calling off their having big gatherings, and if they are having gatherings, hopefully they're with small groups, because we certainly don't want to, for a mere small Thanksgiving dinner, put somebody at risk of coronavirus and they end up dying or in the hospital. And so I think it would be very selfish for somebody to sit there and host a large event with more than 10 people when science doesn't lie. The CDC and the World Health Organization, they're saying that everybody should stay home and not even have Thanksgiving dinner. But some of us are stubborn, and I get that. And so when we have our Thanksgiving dinner tomorrow, we will definitely be cautious. And if you're one of those people that's abnormally selfish, doesn't mask up, doesn't care about other people and their health or safety, then there isn't much I can do, because I'm the reverse. I'm one of these people that I want the world to be a better place. And so by showing you how to do a more lean version, and again, you know, if we were poor and starving, we would put the fats in and everything, but I believe in having no fat or skins and really doing this stuff up lean. Lean and clean. Okay. And so we want to rinse our product in our hands as much as possible so we don't spread any kind of bugs or disease. So now we're going to get out our black pepper and we're going to hammer this thing lightly with some black pepper and some sea salt or kosher salt, either way. And what I like to do, I'm going to give you a really interesting secret here. How many of you have a Whole Foods nearby? I'm not a big fan of a lot of the stuff they have, but it's a great place, you know, to get things like cheese and dry rubs and items that are bulk, you know, like say dark chocolate ginger or what have you. But Whole Foods carries, and you can find this probably online, it's called Bill Barron's Savory Secrets. And what I have here, and you could just put a little bit of paprika if you don't have a dry rub like this, but this is a Texas Chipotle barbecue. And what this does to the chicken is amazing. And so if you can find this online, I highly recommend it. Again, I'll repeat this for you here when I'm done. It's called Bill Barron's Savory Secrets is the brand name, and it's their Texas Barbecue Chipotle. I've been using this for about 10 years now, and it's the best dry rub I can find for chicken or pork. I just love it on both of those, and you can do it on whitefish. And the whole idea is you're not putting butter, cream, or oil, so you're eliminating all the fat. So if you're trying to lose or manage your weight, if you're trying to prevent chronic disease, my recipes and suggestions like this will help you. You will have more energy and vitality. It's just really wonderful when you get advice from a pro. And I've been doing lean cooking now for 31 years, since I lost 88 pounds in 8 months, ending a lifetime of obesity. And so, with that being said, I just love to do lean cooking and share my secrets in abundance with the rest of my viewing audience. And so, with that being said, again, all I'm doing is just putting small amounts of black pepper, sea salt or kosher, whatever you got, and then a Texas Chipotle dry rub made by Bill Barron's. And the only place I know that I've been able to find this other than online is Whole Foods. I do not promote Whole Foods particularly, but it's the only place I know, so I'm going to suggest it to you. And so with that, we're going to have some wonderful, wonderful flavors. Now, what I recommend doing is just taking a decent knife. I think I'm going to rinse the one I have here and clean that up. And we're going to cut the chicken. Since we already used this on the chicken before, we're just trying to get any skin or slop or any contaminants out of it. I'm not too worried about a super thorough rinse. I mean, this is adequate right here. What we're going to do is we're just going to cut this into strips, because we wanted them to, like 1-inch chunks by the time it's cooked down. And we can put this directly in, or we can grill it in strips like this. And I think it's easier to grill it in the pieces like this. So all I'm going to do is cut this into wide strips, and this allows the flavors with this to kind of marinate with this, because we're going to put this away until this comes up to a boil and simmers for about an hour. And that way what's going to happen is we're going to grill this in these large strips, and then when it's done grilling, we're going to cut it down into little chunks. And then we're going to add the wild rice and the condensed soup and the chicken all at once a couple hours later here. And so I invite you to come and join me for part 2 of my chicken wild rice soup here. But for now, we're going to wrap this up, and we're going to put this in a dish so it doesn't contaminate anything else, or on a saucer. And we're going to refrigerate this until we're ready. And with that being said, we are going to wait for this thing to cook down a couple hours. And we put away all of our ingredients. We can clean up. And so for now, we're going to come back and we're going to add the remaining ingredients. And we're going to let this thing simmer for the remainder of the day until evening. And you are going to be in for a treat. And so until part 2, I wave goodbye, and you have a great day.